wonder where you could find some rocks. If you find a rock, a nice flat round rock that sits just right in the crook of your finger, then you have a skipping rock. You toss it out in the water just so and see it trip across the top of the water, making a chain of spreading rings. Skipper, what that's called. Maybe you found a soft white rock and it feels like it's a little dusty in your fingers. Then you have a chalk rock and you can use it to make pictures on the cement. Look, he's drawing like with chalk, but it's a rock. It's not chalk. Funny. Or you might find a big mossy rock by the side of a long, steep trail. Then you have a resting rock. And you sit down and you feel the cool moss squish beneath you. Then again, you might find a rock with a stripe running all the way around it. Trace the line with your finger. It must circle all the way around. You have a wishing rock. And you whisper what you want before you throw it in the water. A wishing rock. I'll have to look here and see if I can find myself a wishing rock. If you find a rock, a big rock, by the edge of the water, then you found a splashing rock. When it hits the surface, the water jumps out of the way, raining back down on the outstretched hands. The bigger the rock, the wetter you will get. Look at that splash he's doing there. That must have been a pretty big rock to make that big a splash. Maybe you will find a pile of small round pebbles. Then you will find sifting rocks, and you can scoop them up by the handful and then let them slide through your fingers slowly. Almost like the gravel we had at school, right? You could scoop that up in your hands and it would fall between your fingers. Or you might find a rock whose water-smothered surface catches your eye. If it feels easy to your hand when you rub it, and when you have found a worry rock, then you have found a worry rock. You rub it between your fingers and your troubles all smother away. So you can find something smooth. And then again, you might find a rock sitting in a grassy field. Push it over. You have found a hiding rock in a dark, cool place underside, living all kinds of things that creep and crawl and hide out of sight. That's like when my friends go to Redeemer and they go by the labyrinth and they push all the rocks over to see the roly-polies and the worms and stuff. It's kind of cool. If you find a rock, a great rock, that towers over you, then you have found a climbing rock. Hold on with your toes and fingers, grip as hard as you can, stretch up and pull until you reach the top, where you feel much bigger than you did when you were on the ground. Look at that guy. That's a pretty high rock he climbed. Awesome. Maybe you'll find a twisting line of rocks sticking up out of the creek. When you have found crossing rocks, which wait to meet your feet as you pass over, the water rushing away all around you. That looks like Samuel P. Taylor Park. Someday we'll get to go back. Or you might find a rock with a print of something else, a leaf or a shell. Then you have found a fossil rock, and you feel the shape of something that lived long, long ago when the rock was young. Then again, you can find a small round rock right in front of your toe. as you go down the sidewalk, you have found a walking rock, and you kick it ahead of you, and you let it follow you home. If you find a rock that's not a skipping rock, or a chalk rock, or a resting rock, or a wishing rock, that's not a splashing rock, or a sifting rock, or a worry rock, or a hiding rock, that's not even a climbing rock, or a crossing rock, or a fossil rock, or a walking rock, but you like it anyway because it reminds you of a place and a feeling, or someone important, then you have found a memory rock. And sometimes those are the best rocks of all. The end.